Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. Today we are out here in our orchard right by our Goldrush apple tree. You can see it's still definitely loaded with fruit, though the leaves have gone. This is probably our last warm day we're gonna have. It's actually up around 70, 72 degrees today, about to get dark. So I wanted to get out here. Probably gonna pick quite a few of these apples, but I also want to experiment a little bit this year with the freeze tolerance of this variety. It's said to survive really well in cold temperatures. So I'm going to put a sensor out here. Now the sensor I've got is this sensor here. Picked this up on Amazon here recently. It's called a HTP.XW sensor. It's the company's Sensor Push, and it can give me minute by minute updates on temperature on my phone if I just get close enough to connect to Bluetooth. So we'll be able to come back out here the next morning after some of the cold temperatures coming this weekend, where it's supposed to get down to at least about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and hopefully we'll be able to see just how cold it got, and then keep an eye on the fruit and see just how much of it survives, what kind of effect it has. It's getting a bit dark, but you can see I've got the sensor up there on the branch, probably about 8 to 10 feet up in the tree. I had to climb up the tree just a little bit to get it in there, and hopefully that'll give us a good reading, not too close to the ground. That way we don't have kind of ground temperatures interfering with that temperature there. So it's been a few days since I put the sensor out here, and if you can't tell already, I just don't have it in me to leave all of these out here for this experiment. So I'm going to go ahead and do some more thinning of this. I will leave maybe a dozen, 2 dozen out here, and then we'll see how those turn out. We'll keep tracking them out here on the tree, see how that turns out. But I just can't let all these go to waste. They're way too valuable to us. Well, it has been a cold couple of nights, and unfortunately the daylight is gone while I'm at work, so I don't really have a chance to get out here and show you guys this during the light. Hopefully this Saturday I can get out here and do that, but I still wanted to get out here and make sure I documented this, because it has now been 72 hours since the night when we dipped down below 28 degrees, which was kind of the reference point that I've read online. If you go 4 hours below 28 degrees, which they don't really have a good metric on how deep below, but we went 13 and a half hours below 28 degrees, and we get down to about 16 or so degrees. And I'll put a chart up of the measurements I've been taking with that sensor, and you can see just how long and how drastically we were below 28 degrees. That's all the red area that I've indicated there on the chart. So really excited to see these apples and show you guys these. So let's take a look at what we got. So check this out. Just based on looks here, we still have definitely got a full apple here. When I'm squishing this, it's still really nice and firm. Right now we're about 29 degrees. We've had our days be above freezing. So it's not that these have been below freezing the whole time. This one here, I am actually getting some squish to it. I think it's actually gone bad. But the larger they are, it seems the more that they've tolerated this cold weather. So these small ones definitely have some damage, but these larger ones, up to about this size, really, this is about the size where I don't really feel any sort of difference in these from the cold, from the freezing that's been occurring out here. Let's check out a couple more. Yeah, I think this is another good example of one that has gone bad right here. You can even see a bit of a darker color, and this one feels even worse than the last. I think if I give this a nice squeeze, yeah, it's gonna break through. Really just does not feel very good here. Let's check this out. Yeah, it definitely froze through and ruined. Just gave it just a little nibble because it doesn't look terribly gross yet. It just looks like it has some freezer damage to it. Yeah, that's not something I really want to eat. Doesn't taste quite rotten yet though. So it could be that these larger ones just haven't thawed out yet, or it could be that they really didn't get damaged. But I'll have to kind of wait and check that out here later. Right now I'm kind of voting damage on a lot of these actually. You can see some of these are discolored. Even in this poor lighting you can see that's going brown. I don't want to put that in my mouth. Does not look very good. But then you look at some of these other ones over here and they look a whole lot better. though I'm not sure if we're gonna see those go bad as well. Well, it's Thursday night and it's about to be dark out here in just a minute. What I want to do here today is go ahead and pick a couple of these. I'll get probably this one here, and then maybe get a couple of larger ones that are up higher in the canopy here. And what I want to do is just set those in the fridge and just let them sit there for probably a week or two. I want them to thaw out very slowly. Go ahead and pull down a couple and take a quick look. Here's one. And here are 2, 3, and 4 here. So we're gonna go ahead and bring these inside. Label this first one because it was a bit lower on the tree. Maybe that'll make a difference. And well, we'll just see what we get here. Well, Saturday night got down actually to 8.9 degrees according to the sensor. It is now Monday morning. Last night was just a 21-degree night, so pretty mild compared to other nights that these have survived so far. Have some that might be getting kind of brown up there, but we'll leave them. We're gonna be gone on vacation for the next week, and when we get back, we'll check on these, see what they all look like. I don't have any low predicted temperatures up until then, so we're not gonna be down below 20 for sure the next few days. So whatever's gonna happen has already happened to these, and we're just kind of waiting to see what that is. Well, it is Saturday, December 3rd, and I'm out here checking on these. So it's been a few weeks since we got down to that 9-degree night. Want to see if any of these are good. I think they're all brown at this point, but I'll go ahead and pull some of these down and show you what some of these look like. And for the sake of time, I think I'm going to go ahead and just shake the tree, see what falls loose, kind of gather that up, and go from there. And probably the best two I've got are this one here and this one, but they're a little rough. Certainly the quality after storage like this, not great, but we'll go cut these up. All right, folks, it's time to go ahead and reveal how well these have all turned out so far. Some of these may not be quite ripe yet, so we're just kind of checking storage quality and all of that. But it's been a couple weeks since we had that freeze all the way down to 9 degrees. That is what these endured. All the way down to that 16 or so degrees is what these endured. That was that 13.5-hour stretch of time under 28 degrees. These ones were picked that night that occurred, so they didn't quite get down all the way as far as others did, and they only had to endure that for just a few hours. And then these were picked before that freeze ever happened, so these were picked kind of more along that conventional wisdom of when you should pick your apples. So I want to compare all of these here today and just see how well they turned out. So let's start off with these worst looking ones here. I don't think that there's going to be anything worthwhile on these. Nothing I want to put in my mouth, but I want to check out what they look like inside. So not fully brown all the way. They kind of look like if you'd left them in the freezer and got them out and let them thaw. Nothing I think I want to eat. The smell actually is pleasant. It's not a rotten smell at this point. I don't know if my chickens will want to eat it. I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't think I want to do anything with these, that's for sure. Kind of spongy. If you were to use these for anything after being frozen this long, other than using them however you want to use your frozen fruit, maybe you would juice them right after. But after having waited this long in order to get them, I don't really recommend just biting into one. It's going to squish a lot more than you want it to in your hands anyway. I think that was about the best one. This one felt a little bit more firm, but overall still basically the same. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything different from the others, and the rest of the ones that I found on the tree looked worse than all of these. So these were our best specimens. I think it's safe to say that 9-degree night definitely did these in. So not really valid specimens, nothing there to taste. So this is now that set we picked after 16 degrees. Remember I said the first one I picked, which was closer to my own eye level, something I could reach really, was number 1 here, and that 2, 3, and 4 were going to be the ones that I picked from higher in the tree in case maybe this didn't survive and those did because of the way heat rises and all that. But honestly, just grabbing these, squishing them in my hands, I don't notice any difference. There's no difference to these. That being said, however, these were also picked after that night, and they obviously did not fare well. These are about like the ones that endured the 9-degree night later. These were all small, obviously, smaller than the others picked, but they all endured that same freeze. So I think there's definitely something to be said as far as the size related to how much these can endure cold temperatures. But obviously I don't want to taste any of these. So like I said, these already feel pretty good. May not be 100% ripe. They've still got a little bit of the green down here. Not as gold as a Goldrush should be. A lot of city blotch, fly speck on here. That's just all cosmetic, nothing to worry about. And if you look at this, this one even had this spot here that had gouged out. I don't know if that was from me picking it or a bird or something. But these I stored in the fridge for the past few weeks here, and there's just no degradation. Even that spot, I mean, there's a little bit of brown around there, but it hasn't spread out further. It looks still like it's fine. And go ahead and cut this open, see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks fine. Nice and firm still. And go ahead and give this a taste. It's definitely edible, but it really doesn't have that crisp crunch that I usually expect with a Goldrush. A little bit more of it there. Clean these up later. Okay, that one's better. And this is the one that was lower on the tree. A little bit worse, I think. A little squishier. Yeah, definitely just not as much fun to eat that. But it tastes fine. You could definitely juice it, make sauce, make pies. I don't think it's overall lost its qualities like these have. Still usable, still survived. Definitely if you missed that window of when you should have picked them, I think they're not worthless by any means. They're just not optimal. Let's try some of these that had a couple of hours of that cold. That's much better. Now that's what I expect from a Goldrush. I'm gonna compare that back to one of these. You can even see how my teeth drag through that. And try and do that here. Yeah, I'd say there's your best comparison right here. 13 hours down to 16, survives. It's still tasty, but definitely the texture, that quality is so much lower than this. Certainly can still be eaten, certainly not trash. Definitely valid chicken food if you don't prefer that texture and you don't feel like cooking with it. But we definitely saved this from certain destruction. I'm not sure what the best temperature might be between these two in order to this degradation from happening in the texture, or if it's kind of more of a gradual thing. And I'm not even noticing that this is squishy by any means. Like, even when I squish on the flesh, I can just barely tell that this sponge is just a little bit more. I can just barely tell it doesn't have that texture to it anymore, that it doesn't crunch and crisp like this does. So really is kind of hard to tell that that was going to be a difference at all when I first grabbed these, but certainly worth noting at this point. So this definitely wins. And of course I want to compare to one that really didn't get exposed to anything like that. Certainly they've got a really nice look to them, and actually these in storage may have the most developed flavor as well, but looks like it's going to be definitely a winner as far as eating. Oh yeah, very good. But I can't really say that I've noticed a difference in this compared to these. So overall, I'm gonna have to say you really shouldn't let your fruit freeze too much further than 28 degrees, but there's a lot of distance between 28 degrees and 16 degrees. So to say an exact spot of where that is, I don't have enough data yet. So we'll have to check again next year. But certainly your fruit could look fine for quite a while. And if you want it softer, less crunchy, you might want to leave it out there a little bit longer. So I think this was absolutely worth it. I'm really glad I went out there and grabbed that last 5 gallons worth of apples before I just let them all freeze to 16 degrees that night. So this has been really exciting for me, getting to see how all of this reacts and getting to keep these temperatures recorded out there, kind of keep track of this all as we went, and getting to know really that it is true that you're going to lose some amount of quality, at least in that texture, by leaving them out in the cold. If you're thinking about leaving them out, or if you have by accident, you're wondering if they're going to be any good, it's been a couple weeks since I pulled those in, and yet they still had a decent flavor. If there's other experiments you think you'd like to see me do, other things that have piqued your interest here from this, let me know in the comments. I already plan to use the sensor in the spring to keep an eye on the temperatures when things are in bloom to see if we get any crop loss. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out that video where we saved all of our fruit blooms from freezing with fires and water, be sure and check out that video here. Or if you didn't see all the follow-ups and the fruit we got in the season after that, be sure and check out that full playlist here. Thanks for watching.